Okay, for your facial rigging exercise, we've given you raw and unrigged faces for the hipster woman and the orange woman here. We're going to give you a lot of different options here so you can kind of choose your own adventure to some degree. But there's some basic things we want to see on both of the facial rigs. So for both characters, make sure you have replacement mouths with a mouth selector slider. Make sure you have replacement eyelids with at least one blink control. You should have a click and drag eye aim control, and you should have at least position and rotation control for your eyebrows. But you should also try some of the more advanced techniques that we talked about. So try to include in at least one of the rigs some rotation, position, and squash and stretch control on the mouth. If you're really brave, you could try a mesh warp for the smile frown, although that's not necessary, but if you want to try that, you could. On the eyes, try to put squash and stretch control on at least one of the characters. Dual pupil control, so you can control both pupils with your click and drag controller, but then also have some point or X and Y position controllers to control each pupil individually. Dual blink controls, so you have that same situation as with the eye aim control where you can blink both eyes together or each eye individually. And some eyebrow deformation, so the eyebrows can arch up and arch down. Now if you want to get crazy and you want to put all the bells and whistles on both rigs, fantastic, go for it. It's all really good practice. Okay, there's just a couple of things to remember as you're doing this. Note that the orange woman's first piece of eyelid art is actually her eyelashes. So unlike the previous blinks we set up, your first frame in your eyelid pre-comp is actually going to be these eyelashes. And then eyelid 1, 2, 3, and 4 will then close the eye. It's usually common to have a blank frame at the first frame of that eyelid, but in this case, her eyelashes go with the eyelids and they appear when the eye is fully open. Now the other thing about this orange woman here is that her eyes are slightly different sizes, but they're also not in any way regular circles. And the pupils even sort of start in slightly different places, and the pupils are slightly different sizes. So just be aware when you're tuning your eye aim control, you are going to want to noodle the math a little bit so that these match fairly well. But don't get too carried away. It's doubtful that you'll ever really get it perfect. Just get it as close as you can get it so it feels the most right, and just note that that's one of the issues when you have a character with a very, very loose drawing style. Not everything is going to align perfectly or behave just exactly the way you want it to. Once your faces are rigged up, compare them to the faces in the solution file. Now again, there's a lot of choice here, so the rigs won't necessarily be exactly alike, but that's all right. That's part of what you're learning, is how to build your own rigs the way you want to build them. Particularly with the user interface side of things, you have a lot of options there, and feel free to try out different ones to see what you like best.